This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, 2 people remain in hospital after a balcony collapse in the student quarter, an incident that's having a lasting effect. We'll find out why the work of some well-known poets is being set to classical music at Knox Church. And rubber duckies flood the Leith and make thousands for charity despite a tough climate. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. Investigations into the collapse of a Castle Street balcony during a large spontaneous concert are continuing. More than 1,500 people attended the gig and some were seriously injured when a deck holding around 20 revellers collapsed. Much of the destruction has been cleaned up, but the incident is having a lasting effect.
This is what's left of Friday night's freak accident. This Castle Street address is now without a balcony after it collapsed, holding almost 20 people. The structure gave way, injuring 18 partygoers at a surprise concert by Dunedin band 660.
I was on the balcony that collapsed, and it wasn't anything too there wasn't anything too ruckus or outrageous happening on the balcony. There were just a bunch of us hanging out, having a couple of drinks, trying to get a good view of 660. And yeah, out of the blue, collapsed.
Students scaled buildings and overloaded balconies to get a view of the group performing. Kapia says there were around 10 to 15 people on the deck at the time of its collapse, even though it was built to withstand only 8. He remembers the incident vividly.
A lot of people were pretty banged up. 2 guys who were definitely, clearly in a lot of pain, and 1 girl who could hardly move. And then the rest of us just had kind of minor, bruises, bumps and bruises and stuff.
The government's ordered an investigation into the case, which is also being scrutinised by local authorities. 1 person remains seriously injured in hospital locally and another has been transferred to Christchurch with a broken back. Students say the accident was inevitable, but they still can't believe it happened.
Balconies were like sort of an accident waiting to happen. Like they all seem pretty unstable, and then all the students drinking, it just seems like, yeah, you could kind of tell something was going to go down.
So I was at the front and the thing, I was just watching the show and then all of a sudden you hear this crack and we turned around and this thing just collapsed on top of all these people. It was insane.
18 people were initially treated at Dunedin Hospital's emergency department. The government's expecting to have an interim report on the incident and whether the balcony met building code standards at the end of this month. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
The Dunedin City Council is needing consent to discharge excess wastewater into local rivers and Otago Harbour. It needs permission from the Otago Regional Council to deal with overflows from the wastewater network. Rainfall puts pressure on the piped system, making flows exceed capacity. The City Council wants to discharge stormwater into the harbour and 3 rivers to prevent it flowing onto roads and private property. There are 7 outlet points, including Kaikorai Stream, the Water of Leith and Lindsay Stream. The DCC hopes to avoid overflows in future by upgrading the wastewater network, but that'll take years and cost millions of dollars. Several well-known poets are having their work reimagined and set to classical music. It's part of a collaborative performance being held at Knox Church and is bringing together artists with a range of talents.
Belting it out, soprano Sophie Morris is putting her spin on the work of some of the country's top poets. Several written compositions have been scored to music for an evening event organised by writer Ian Loughran.
This year I wanted to explore a classical element because classical composers and singers are used to working in very technical ways. So I thought, that would lend itself well to some of the complex poems, and the results have been quite fabulous, so I'm very pleased with how it's turned out.
The poems will be read aloud by their authors as well as sung by Morris. She's taken the opportunity seriously, especially with several of the poems set to be heard for the first time.
They've been created for this specific purpose for this night, so each piece is totally unique, and for me that's really special because it's something that is totally new, and I feel like it's a big duty of me to do the best that I can for these pieces.
Loughran's work features in the showcase alongside that of David Eggleton, Emma Neal and Sue Wooten. Those involved hope that by adding music to the work, the audience will understand the poems differently. For one composer, it's been beneficial collaborating with writers and getting to the crux of her work.
I was having trouble starting the piece, so I contacted the poet, Emma, and I asked her what she thought, like, what's it really about? Why did you write it? What can I sort of translate into the music? What sort of feelings? And it was way easier to start with what she had to give me.
Van Beetu has just 2 days to fine-tune the work ahead of the official performance. It's being held at Knox Church on Wednesday night. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
3 young men have been taken into police custody after being caught damaging vehicles in North Dunedin. The locals were apprehended by officers around 4 o'clock this morning at Logan Park Drive. Police say there were 4 offenders, but 1 was granted bail. None of the young men are tertiary students, and 1 is being dealt with through youth aid. Several parked cars were damaged, and it's believed the offenders also broke into a vehicle at Forsyth Bar Stadium. About $30,000 is going to a handful of charities thanks to a creative fundraising event. Thousands of yellow rubber ducks flooded the Leith waterway at the weekend for the city's annual duck race. And despite tough conditions, participation was at an all-time high.
Adding a splash of colour to the Leith, thousands of bright yellow ducks have taken to water for the annual Rotary Run duck race. The event raises money for several charities, which this year will be taking a share of the $30,000 raised.
Our main charities are Cure Kids and Marine Search and Rescue, and then the other funds will just go into our consolidated fund to be able to dish out over the next 12 months or so to various other organisations such as Autism, who have been selling tickets for us, and St John's, who have been selling tickets for us.
The event encompasses 3 races, with the main one made up of 5,000 ducks connected to raffle tickets. The larger decorated ducks raced in the Corporate Challenge are consistently a drawcard event, and this year there's more than ever.
What's happened mostly is that the corporates have got more competitors, as I just said before, and the fact that they're playing one off the other, and probably we're up about 15 to 20% this year on last year in terms of those larger ducks, which is good.
This year around 20 of the decorated ducks were made by pupils at local primary and intermediate schools. That's a new component of the event for its 5th running, and while participation numbers were low, organisers are hopeful the concept will take off.
It's been a little bit difficult to get more than a few schools involved because the time of the year and things are a bit hectic at the start of the year for them, and so we've considered changing to a different time of the year, but this time of the year seems to work quite well for most people anyway.
Fire service staff were on hand with a hose, giving the ducks a helping hand in the low water conditions. While it wasn't quite enough for some of the races, it didn't diminish the success of the day for both organisers and spectators. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, a national final is held in Outram and it's being hailed a major success. And could USA Day get any bigger? Why organisers say yes.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
New Zealand Beeswax Limited are the quintessential beeswax, woodwear and beekeeping suppliers. From the amateur beekeeper to the commercial operator, New Zealand Beeswax Limited has the quantity to meet your needs. For great prices, great service New Zealand-wide, contact New Zealand Beeswax Limited on 03 693 9189 or visit www.beeswax.co.nz.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
The team at Caltex North care more about you than just putting fuel in your tank. They care about you and your family. At the Caltex Valley Workshop, the skilled service team care about your safety, extending the life of your car and helping you live more economically. There's a range of modern equipment to give comprehensive warranty fitness checks and servicing to your vehicle. Come visit your only local in North East Valley and receive 10% off when you book your warrant and service together. That's your friendly Caltex Valley Workshop, 134 North Road, or book online at caltexvalley.co.nz.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf for them.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
For professional, reliable and approachable service where your dream kitchen design can become an affordable reality, contact the team at Kitchens for Less. Call 455 9973 or visit us online.
Ecrotech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 117766.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Welcome back. The construction industry is booming, with building activity reaching a record high in the last quarter. Overall, there was a 2.5% increase in the total volume of building work heading into the new year. That was worth $4.4 billion in the December quarter alone. Statistics New Zealand says it's the most construction seen in 26 years since records began. Paid hours within the sector also reached a new high, and ready-mixed concrete production surpassed 1 million cubic metres for the first time. Auckland is leading the way, accounting for a third of the national total. And on that note, let's take a look at today's markets. The NZX 50 has closed the day up 1 point. It's now at 6,419. The FTSE is up 69 points. To the exchange rates, the Kiwi dollar is down against the yen, but we are up against the other currencies we follow. Outram played host to the National Rodeo Final at the weekend, which is being touted as a major success. Animal rights protesters gathered at the event, but there were no injuries to animals or contestants. And Outram Rodeo Club spokesman Fred Doherty is here to tell us more. Good evening.
Good evening, Rebecca.
How big was this event?
Well, if you're a cowboy in New Zealand, it doesn't get any bigger. It was the national final, so it was the national pinnacle biggest rodeo in New Zealand.
Who were the top riders?
Well, there was riders gathered from all over New Zealand. The churches, of course, from Rotorua, which is the big name in rodeo in New Zealand, they were all down. Anyone that managed to get into the top 8 in each event was down here, so all the big names were gathered.
Were many locals competing?
There wasn't anyone from Outram or really local, but there was from Palmerston, Middlemarch, that close here.
Has Outram hosted a final before?
Yes, we've done it 4 times now in our 53-year history. I think that the club's been going, and the last time was in 2006.
Now, I believe something special happened with the team roping event.
Yeah, well, the team roping, it's a rather tragic story, really. The guy that was leading the standings and the team roping got killed in a car accident on his way home from the last rodeo of the year, last weekend at Uranui in Taranaki, and he had built up quite a lead in the event. And so going into the finals, you take your winnings with you, as it were, and despite the best efforts of all his fellow contestants, he finished up still being our national champion, and he was crowned last night at the presentation dinner, so it was quite an emotional sort of a moment.
Absolutely. Are you happy with how everything went?
Yeah, very happy. The sun shone for us, the weather was beautiful, the lovely balmy evening last night, and the weather on both days were just perfect. A bit of cloud, which just kept the temperature down a little bit. So it was just fantastic. So yes, we're very, very happy.
How long is the rodeo season?
The rodeo season is a 12-month season, but in reality, like, it's a summer sport. So it basically kicks off for the summer at Labour weekend with 2 rodeos in South Canterbury and goes right through hard out over Christmas and right through till now. And then this is the national finals now.
What were some of the prizes on offer?
Well, the club put up about $48,000 in cash prizes, and the Cowboys' entry fees on the day get added to that. So there was $54,000 in cash prizes paid out over the weekend. And on top of that, there was about $30,000 worth of trophy saddles and buckles provided by the National Association. They got presented to our champions last night at the presentation dinner.
What happens from here for those that did well?
Well, basically they have a big layoff. We go into the off-season. There is another couple of events which basically count towards next year's national finals. But basically, as I said, it's a seasonal sport, and so the horses are turned out for the winter, and they have a bit of a rest and try to earn a bit of leave again so that they can go rodeo next summer.
Is Outram on the cards to host a final again?
Well, it probably will happen one day, but at the moment we're just glad to get this one out of the way, and we'll just draw breath and see what the future holds.
Outram Rodeo Club spokesman Fred Doherty, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, classic American cars go on display, and we'll find out why it wasn't just kids getting praise at a Children's Day event.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all-black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special. 0800 502 402.
Ecrotech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 117766.
Pellet fires are growing in popularity in Otago, with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pellet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Mobility Scooters Otago. Mobility scooters, new and used, electric manual wheelchairs, strollers and walkers. Free home demonstration and delivery. Call Tony on 03 455 2875 or visit our showroom, 211 King Edward Street, opposite Westpac.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
New Zealand Beeswax Limited are the quintessential beeswax, woodware and beekeeping suppliers. From the amateur beekeeper to the commercial operator, New Zealand Beeswax Limited has the quantity to meet your needs. For great prices, great service New Zealand-wide, contact New Zealand Beeswax Limited on 03 693 9189 or visit www.beeswax.co.nz.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. Thousands of car enthusiasts were treated to some of America's finest vehicles at the weekend. The Great USA Day showcased more than 200 cars to the public at Tahuna Park, and organisers are looking to grow the event with the help of residents.
Looking over an all-American arsenal. These residents are checking out a car show dedicated to vehicles from the United States as part of an annual showcase.
Today we're having an event called the Great USA Day. It's an event held for American car enthusiasts. So all the cars here and vehicles here today are of American origin.
The Great USA Day involved more than 200 cars from around the city and the country. The event is held so people can look at models rare to New Zealand and view cars that aren't seen every day on the road. Organisers say there was a wide range on offer and they didn't all have to be in pristine condition to be shown.
They range from really early hot rods from the 1920s right up to almost brand new like late model Mustangs and Camaros and things like that. So they're very, very wide range of vehicles.
The event is in its 29th year and attracted 1,500 to 2,000 car enthusiasts who enjoyed checking out the automobiles. The stateside Streeters Club is looking to grow the event further by recruiting locals who have an American car on their hands.
There's more and more cars coming into the country from America. There's people importing them all the time. And this is a good place for people to show other people what they've got. And when you look around Dunedin, there's just hundreds and hundreds of American cars here now. And
the showcase began with a cruise around the city on Friday evening and ended with the display event on Saturday. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
About 500 preschoolers have had the chance to play on the city's top sporting ground. Families gathered at Forsyth Bar Stadium yesterday to celebrate Children's Day, but it wasn't just the kids getting recognition.
Making a day of it. Hundreds of local children and their families were enjoying the Little Big Day Out at Forsyth Bar Stadium yesterday. It was a celebration organised by the Dunedin Plunket team to mark Children's Day.
They're our treasure and they're also our future. So if we can have happy, healthy children who grow up into healthy adults, then it makes for a thriving community.
It's the first time local Plunket staff have hosted this event with help from the Kindergartens Association and other community groups. The stadium was offered free of charge as a venue and gold coin donations covered the costs of entertainment. It was all about allowing parents time to focus on playing with their children in an easy, fun and low-cost way.
To give parents a chance to celebrate their children, to realise how special they are and to give them an opportunity just to spend time with them doing simple things.
The little ones also had a ball socialising with one another. Live concerts and a teddy bears picnic were the main attractions, as well as games and crafts.
If we can affirm them and build up their esteem and make them believe in themselves, then yeah, that's really important.
Some local sports stars took time out of their weekend to join in the festivities, but it wasn't just for the kids. Organisers are hoping the event also gave parents a boost.
It gives parents confidence to know that what they're doing with their children is the right thing, and sometimes they just need the affirmation too that what they're doing is good for their kids.
There aren't any concrete plans to stage the celebration again, but based on its success, organisers are likely to make the Little Big Day Out a regular feature. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. The government and local authorities are investigating the collapse of a student flat balcony, which has left 2 young people seriously injured. Poetry by several well-known authors is being reimagined and set to classical music for a live local premiere at Knox Church. And about $30,000 has been raised for local charities through the annual Rotary Duck Race down the Leith. And it's time now to find out what's going to be on the pages of Tuesday's Otago Daily Times, and here to tell us is editor Barry Stewart. Good evening.
Hello Rebecca. We'll have the latest on the balcony, Castle Street balcony collapse. Also a meeting's been called this evening by St Kilda MP, Dunedin South MP Claire Curran,
all of the above,
regarding the future of South Dunedin. So we'll look at that, and incidentally we have a special feature on Saturday in Saturday's paper regarding the aftermath of the South Dunedin flooding, so look out for that one. A very important story. Dunedin City Council staff are looking at submissions into dog bylaws. They've had 300 odd submissions into that, so obviously struck a chord with a lot of people. Track and field championships held in Dunedin over the weekend were very successful according to organisers, and we catch up with Brendan McCullum and Stephen Fleming, former Black Caps captains, at the golf in Arrowtown today.
That's all in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, plus more. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Time now for local weather.
This weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn Sportsville.
And here is today's city view as taken of a spider web blowing in the breeze. Well, around the city today at 3 o'clock, a little cooler than we've been used to over the past couple of days. 16 degrees for both the central city and the gardens, and 18 for the Tyree. To the situation, and an anticyclone is developing in the Tasman Sea with the airflow tending cooler southwesterly over the country. An active cold front will move over the country on Wednesday and Thursday. Well, to the forecast for the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow. Sou'westers with a few showers for Invercargill and Te Anau, both on 14. Some cloud about for Gore with sou'westers, and some cloud for Alexandra. Very few in the winds department there with 16 degrees. Some cloud about for Queenstown, Wanaka and Twizel, and sou'westers with cloud for Oamaru and a high of 15. And Dunedin tonight, a few showers with an overnight low of 9. Tomorrow, sunny periods and some clouds, sou'westers with 15 degrees. And on Wednesday, nor'westers freshening with high cloud increasing, a period of strong to near gale force winds at night, and a high of 21. And to the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information. Low tide tomorrow morning is at 20 to 11. High tide follows at 10 past 4. And fishing conditions are not altogether favourable tomorrow, but if you were keen, you might like to try it around 10 to 1 in the afternoon. And that is local news for Monday. We'll join you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.